It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Bridgewater State head women's lacrosse coach, Coach Erica Adams. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Brandon. Thank you.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college lacrosse?
So my path to college lacrosse is actually quite different, I think, than most people's. An injury actually led me into coaching and into the coaching world. So I had the very unfortunate luck of tearing my ACL my senior year of playing college lacrosse. And my coach kind of put me in a great position to be involved with the team without having to sacrifice much as far as, being a team player and being a part of the program. So I kind of turned into more of a student coach. And then I just really fell in love with it. And that kind of led me down this path instead of down my criminal justice path that I was on academically. So
Of course, what was that like going to Knowles College and playing lacrosse and soccer?
yeah, so I played two Division III sports, women's soccer, women's lacrosse. I also actually played club women's ice hockey as well. Um, It was a great experience for me. I think, we as a, I guess as a, college and an athletic department, they made it pretty easy for me to be able to do. They supported me being a dual sport athlete. It kept me very, very busy, and that's definitely something I still carry with me today. So it helped me learn, good time management, understanding, what hard work sort of turns into. And it helps me support a lot of my current dual sport athletes as well because I understand where they're coming from. So it was a great experience overall.
Of course, how is that like being a dual sport athlete and representing the college in both sports?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You have two or three groups of friends that you pretty much build immediately once you arrive on a campus. And each team had its own, um, positive attributes that I was able to sort of be a part of and different, experiences in each team. One of the teams was very successful and one of them, we went through some challenges and I think you can learn a lot from both those experiences. So it was awesome. I mean, I still talk to some of those girls to this day. So, I was glad to be able to be a part of it.
What were some of your college accomplishments on the lacrosse side?
As far as lacrosse goes, I actually got put into a pretty difficult position when I got to campus at Nichols. So I actually am a midfielder. I started out playing low defense in high school on the lacrosse field, and then I got moved to a midfielder. And when I got to Nichols, I was actually asked to play goalie, which anybody who's familiar with lacrosse or any sport for that matter, you have to be, I guess a little bit crazy to kind of be in a lacrosse cage and have balls shot at you, 50 miles an hour. But I took it as a compliment, as my coach kind of saying, we trust you, we feel confident in your ability to be able to do something you've never done before. And so I took it and ran with it. And I was fortunate to, be a pretty good backstop for my college team. Was able to lead them, sort of back towards, I guess winning ways as we might say. And my junior year, we made it to the conference playoffs for the first time ever in the history of Nichols lacrosse. So that was a big deal for us. And I was happy to be a part of that. And, I think just the actual accomplishments as far as, whether it's championships or trophies or things like that, I think weren't necessarily where we were at, but for us to get to the playoffs was a huge accomplishment for us. So we were happy to get there.
Of course, coming out of college, what was it like playing professional lacrosse for the Houston Revenge?
I did not play professional lacrosse. Um, I do know some people that did. I actually went into playing women's professional football after college, and that's a whole experience in itself. And it was really awesome. I still play to this day. Um, and I've been very fortunate to be a part of the Boston Renegades and do that. So um, I'm sure that will be a conversation for down the line, but it's a lot of fun. It's a very physical, it's real tackle football. It's a big commitment. We practice twice a week for pretty much 9 months out of the year, and we travel all over the country to play an 8-game schedule. So I've been really fortunate to be able to participate in that for the last 10 plus years. So it's been awesome.
Of course, how was that like getting into high school coaching and also becoming an athletic director?
Yeah, so I got into high school coaching right out of college. And I did that, kind of like I alluded to earlier. Unfortunately, due to my injury, that was kind of something that led me into coaching. And so I went back to my alma mater at Braintree High School, go Womps, and I was able to coach there for 2 or 3 seasons until an opportunity presented itself at the college level. And that was really great. I think it gave me an opportunity to give back to the high school that gave me so much. And, it gave me a good sense of pride, and I was able to pass that along to some of those student athletes. So it was awesome. I liked it a lot. It was a great experience. It's good to be able to be around that again and see it from a different perspective. When you're a student at a high school, it's much different um, than once you go back and you're coaching, those same student athletes that you once were. So I loved it. I liked it a lot, and I'm glad I was able to do it.
Of course, what was that experience like getting your opportunity to coach on the college level and get a head coaching job at Penn College?
Yeah, I that job kind of fell in my lap, honestly. So I applied kind of on a whim. And Pioneer College is in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, and I happened to be living in the area. I was commuting a pretty far distance to coach at Braintree High, and so um, I submitted an application, went through the process, and I think honestly, my experience as a student athlete and having the ability to bring the strong sense of culture that I feel like I can bring to lacrosse programs was really what helped me land that job. And the athletic director there at the time was super supportive, really understood and knew what I wanted to do with the program. And so he gave me a shot at a pretty young age, which I was very fortunate for and very thankful to get. And I learned a lot in my first few years there. I was only there for 2 years, and you learn a lot when you jump into college coaching at 23, 24 years old. So I would definitely say that was a learning curve for me. I think I had to learn on the fly, adjust, make changes, and still be myself at the same time. So that was definitely the job that gave me the opportunity to coach in college, and it's probably part of the reason why I was able to get to Bridgewater and be a part of this program. So,
Of course, how did your experience as a head coach coming out of getting into college coaching help you to get your first assistant coaching job?
yeah, I mean, kind of same thing as before. I learned a lot in my first couple years coaching at the college level, and um, unfortunately, they made some changes in their athletic department while I was there, and they weren't able to continue to offer women's lacrosse as a varsity sport. So I made the decision to step down and move into an assistant coach role for a few years, both at Mount Ida College and then also at Hendrix College. And for various reasons, personal and professional reasons, to gain a little bit more experience in the world of Division III lacrosse. To learn more from other coaches, to network and meet people that were going to be able to teach me, maybe some things that I wasn't able to learn on my own. at Pine Manor. And then, you know, being able to, I think, stay in the game for as long as possible is always beneficial. So I didn't want to step away from coaching altogether. But I certainly, wasn't really in a position to be able to take on another head coaching job at that time. So professionally and personally, it worked out really well for me. And then I obviously got the opportunity to go up to Norwich University as well, where I was able to actually get back into soccer too. So I coached lacrosse and soccer up there for a few years. And that was great because two sports kind of brought me back to my playing roots. And it was a lot of fun to be able to get back into that world again and kind of see it from the dual sport coach perspective instead of a dual sport athlete perspective. So I definitely have a big love for sports. So that was a big hit for me to be able to do both of those while I was up at Norwich. So I had a blast.
What was that experience like getting to be a dual sport coach for Norwich and coaching both the lacrosse and the soccer?
It was great. We had a lot of crossover athletes that played both sports. So I was able to build really close, tight knit relationships with some of our student athletes that, some of them I still talk to this day. So that was kind of cool to see. And I think just being able to kind of keep yourself busy and be involved in coaching year round, where we have different NCAA guidelines and regulations that we have to follow at the Division III level. So I'm not able to work with my lacrosse team year round. So when I was coaching both sports, I was able to coach pretty much from August until May. And that was really fun, because I love coaching. It's the best part of my workday. So I think for us, it's, if you're coaching two sports, it's definitely hard. It's challenging. You have to really manage your time well. You have to balance everything, but it was really fun. And I love to be out there as often as possible. And the student athletes that they have at Norwich are, they're awesome. They work really hard. They have a blue collar mentality. A lot of them are considering the armed forces as a career. And so, they understand the commitment piece. So coaching two teams that, probably 30 to 40% of them, are looking to a military, career at some point is, it's fascinating, and it was special to be a part of. So it was cool.
Now, is that like coming to Bridgewater State and becoming a head coach for the second time in your coaching career?
Yeah, it was definitely the second time around experience was definitely more planned. I had my eye on this job for a while, and fun fact, I had actually so I was hired in 2015, and I was actually applied and interviewed in 2014. It might even have been the year before that. So I unfortunately was not given the job in 2014. But as the saying goes, if at first you don't succeed, try again. So I came back the following year. I was much more knowledgeable about the job and the position, and I understood, I think, what they were looking for in their program, as far as consistency and, a little bit more stability. They had gone through a few coaches in a few years. So, for them, I know it was important to them to have somebody that wanted to be here, that wanted to stay here, that wanted to help be a part of their culture and their program. And so that was something for me that I had a big point of emphasis, and something we still talk about to this day is just what kind of culture do we have? How are we going to be successful on the field, but also how are we going to be successful off the field? How are we going to be successful in the classroom? How are we going to be successful in the community? And I think that was something that was definitely a good opportunity for the department, and something that they felt like in me that I was going to be able to provide for this program and for our student athletes. So it's honestly been a great opportunity. I joke all the time. I worked my whole life for this position, but it really just suits me really well. I feel like I fit, as far as puzzle pieces go. The student athletes are phenomenal, and for us, that's something that as coaches we're always looking for, is to make sure we have great student athletes. So I'm really fortunate to be able to be here.
Of course, as a head coach, how has that experience been like building both the players around you along with the coaching staff around you?
Yeah, I think kind of like I alluded to in the previous question, one of our biggest focuses is, we're not just lacrosse players. We're student athletes, we're people. And so one of the biggest things that we focus on for developing our student athletes is, you know, how do we leave Bridgewater as a well-rounded, strong, independent female who can advocate for themselves, who can interview and be confident during an interview process, who can be a great teammate, be a great, you know, colleague in an office, things like that. And so we talk a lot about like, what's your legacy? Like, what's your impact that you're going to have not only on our program, but also on yourself? And how are you going to take that out into the world to be able to contribute positively to society and to your own success, and how's that measured? We don't have to measure success in how much money you make or what job you get. How do you measure success? And so we go through a lot of that stuff and we try to develop those character traits that are employable, that are strong character traits that you can utilize all over the course of your life, not just in an athletics arena, and being able to have the skill sets to be successful adults. So, and I think the same thing as far as staff is, having assistant coaches and people who surround you that are on the same page and are, interested and willing to make sure that our students and our student athletes and the people that are part of our program are good people and that they also, want to grow and want to develop. And hopefully some of them, want to get into head coaching. And I think that that's something that's underrated in the assistant coach world is, there are some people who really want to stay and be assistant coaches and that's what their schedule allows. But myself as an example, ultimately I wanted to be a head coach. And I think every head coach I worked with, I was very transparent. I said, I like being an assistant coach and I love doing all this, but here's my long-term goal. And I want to support that for any assistant coach who's interested in doing that. And I do that through the same ways we support and develop our student athletes. Here's the information that I have. This is kind of what we do on a daily basis. Like, how can I help you, be a great advocate for yourself, out in the coaching world. And so I think those go hand in hand as far as, just developing players, but also just people, developing good people. So that's kind of our ultimate goal in the end.
What does a typical game day look like for the lacrosse program at Bridgewater?
I guess it depends on who you ask. For me, it's pretty low key. I try to just stay into my normal routine. Get a workout in, come into the office, answer some emails. I like to think at that point that all of our preparation has already been accomplished and we've prepared ourselves the best we can. So anything additional at that point might just be an extra film clip or, an extra mental note that, I want to maybe reiterate to our team. But for the most part, it's pretty much a business day. After I answer some emails, I'm probably going to have a meal and then start our, sort of process of, okay, like, what are we doing for our lineup today? Kind of how's our game plan shaping out? Everything's still going to stay the same. And by mid-afternoon, I'm probably heading into the locker room to make sure everyone's ready to go and giving my pregame pep talk and giving them the lineup. And then we're heading out to the field for warm-ups. And before you know it, warm-ups are done, game's on, and it's over on the blink of an eye. So, I try to keep it pretty simple, pretty laid back, staying in the same routine that we can stay in pretty much.
Of course, so once the game day time hits, what is that feeling like leading your team to obviously, hopefully winning?
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I mentioned earlier, the coaching part of this job is by far the most fun and the most enjoyable. I don't know that there's one feeling to describe it. I think excitement, energy, passion, like those would be some ways that I kind of feel. Those would be some emotions that I feel as we head out to the fields. And I think, I'm a pretty outgoing person. I'm very energetic. So mostly I'm just feeling like good vibes, good positive energy, and trying to like, sort of reflect that onto our team and make sure that they also feel the same way. So that, they go in with a clear eyes and a full heart. So that's definitely a goal of ours to, have a clear mindset before we step out there.
Who are some of the teams that you face each week in your conference?
So we play in the Massachusetts State College Athletic Conference, and those teams include obviously Bridgewater State. It also includes Mass Maritime, Fitchburg State, Framingham State, Westfield State, Salem State, MCLA, and Worcester State. So I think I got all 7. So there's 8 of us total that compete in lacrosse across the state of Massachusetts in our conference. And then we do play a non-conference schedule as well every spring. So we play about 9 or 10 non-conference games. And we'll play teams like Coast Guard and Wellesley and Wheaton. And we actually travel up to Maine. We play the University of Southern Maine and the University of New England and those kinds of teams. And we try to keep our schedule pretty tough. We don't necessarily want to put ourselves in a big hole, but we also want to compete and have fun games that are neck and neck. We don't really want to have any lopsided games if we can help it. So we try to schedule pretty competitive teams in region that we know we can compete with on any given night. So
What is that like, obviously getting to travel to some of those teams like Southern Maine and Coast Guard?
yeah, I mean, we try to obviously we take a coach bus. We try to obviously plan the day accordingly, so we're limiting any missed class time or anything like that. A lot of times we'll travel on a Saturday if we're able to do so that we don't have to worry about it. But it's a long day for sure. I don't mind road trips. I don't think many of our team does. But we hop on a bus in the morning, we head up. If it's a long trip, like a Southern Maine or if we're going out to Western Mass, we might stop halfway and just get off the bus, stretch our legs, maybe use the restrooms, things like that. And once we arrive, we pretty much go through our same pregame routine that we have at home. We head into a locker room, get suited up. I come in, do all our pregame stuff, and then, we're right back into our regular routine. So it's fun. We try to make the most out of the trip. Sometimes we'll, play some games on the way up, watch some movies, things like that. So it's a good team bonding opportunity as well for the players to kind of be in one space all at the same time and have the opportunity to have conversations that can't necessarily have, on the field. So it's good.
What does the recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play college lacrosse?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways that the recruiting process can work. One of the first one is obviously just reaching out to us and showing your interest, whether it's for academic or athletic purposes. And then we can kind of have the conversations from there as far as what you're looking for. Do we check all your boxes from an athletics, academics, and social standpoint? And then we can continue the conversation, have you meet the team, get you on campus, that kind of stuff. Another way, we can kind of create a connection is through watching you play, as far as if there's a student athlete that, one of our coaching staff members happens to see play at a tournament or at a high school game, and we're interested, we'll reach out and let them know that we're interested to kind of find out more about their college search and about, what they want to study and see if Bridgewater is the right fit for them. And another way is through coaches networking, as far as whether it's a high school coach or a college coach or even a club coach, connecting and networking with myself as far as, or one of my staff members, and saying, hey, this player would be a great fit for you. They want to study, the major that you have, can you come check them out, things like that. So there's a few different ways they can get on our radar. and we'll try to make sure that we are staying in line with obviously following all of our NCAA guidelines and reaching out to them and having conversations to, again, make sure it's the right fit for them, and then have them come on campus and make sure they have a good feeling for themselves and on campus, and that they can visibly see or, mentally see themselves physically here for 4 years and being a part of our program. Because I think, you want to make sure that that person is happy. We have their major, we're the right athletic program for them, and things like that. So one of three ways, get in touch with the coaches, we'll get in touch with you, or through our coaches networking and connecting.
As a head coach, what are some of the things that you look at in those prospective student athletes when on the road?
So there's a few things that are important to me, that I also think are important to a lot of other coaches. But we put a pretty big emphasis on work ethic. And, for me to watch a player playing a game, I can typically get a good understanding about what their work ethic is and where it's at, and if it needs to be better or if it's superb or anything like that. And, typically that's a big one for us, because we put an emphasis and pride ourselves on being a very hardworking team. So in order for you to come into our program and feel confident and fit in with what we're doing, you have to be able to have that foundation. So having a strong work ethic is definitely a foundation, for us, and something that we really look for. A couple of the other things that, for us is do they have a little bit of grit? Like, are they kind of playing with a chip on their shoulder? Are they, getting after ground balls? Are they doing the little things that can make a difference in a game? And then the other piece is, are you a good teammate? If you're supportive of your teammates, you're doing the right things when no one's watching, you're sharing the ball, you're making good decisions that positively impact your team. That's huge for us too, because as you know, lacrosse is a team sport, like most sports. And we want everybody to be supportive of each other while also being competitive and having that grit to be able to kind of get out there every day and work, and also support your teammates who are also getting out there every day and working. And so, I think those are my top three as far as, what we're looking for, in a prospective student athlete. Of course, we want them to be able to have a strong lacrosse skill set. And we also want them to be successful in the classroom, because those can translate much easier for a college athlete than, if you struggle in any of those areas. But the three characteristics I mentioned before, as far as work ethic, grit, and being a good teammate, I can't really teach those things, whereas I can teach you lots of lacrosse skills. That's my job. But I can't really teach you to work hard. That's something that has to come from you, and it has to be very intrinsically motivated, because, I'm only one person. My coaching staff is only one other person. So we have to make sure that they're intrinsically motivated and want to be there and want to work hard in order to do that. So all the other stuff, I can teach you, but I can't teach you how to do those three things. So.
Of course, when it comes to the official visit, what is it like having those prospective student athletes come on the official visit and fall in love with the campus?
Yeah, we do. We try to host a couple of official visits a year, whether it's in a small group where we have our prospect day, every fall, the first weekend of October. We'll host anywhere between 15 and 25 of our upcoming recruits on campus for some on-field stuff, a Q&A, some campus tours, and some one-on-one, like lunch and meeting opportunities, networking opportunities within our team. So that's one of the ways that we do it. Another one of the ways that we'll do it is we'll have a prospective student athlete come to campus, and shadow one of our current student athletes, both to class, to their dorms, basically live a day in the life. And that's a great opportunity for them to see what it takes to be a student athlete and what it means, as far as how your day gets laid out. So, within all of those visits, we also have they'll meet with myself or my coaching staff. They'll have an opportunity to probably attend one of our other home events, whether it's football or basketball or another event that our team tends to go to, because we have a few dual sport athletes. Some soccer, basketball, and field hockey games are usually well attended also. So we'll try to kind of give them an opportunity to see what it's like to be here and to be a student athlete and to be a part of our program. And we want them to get the full experience. So it's a great day all around. I think the kids love it. And, I think it gives them a really great insight into what it means to be a Bear and what it means to be a part of our program. So,
As a head coach, what is it like getting to see them put on that jersey for the first time and fall in love with the burgundy colors?
yeah, I just think it's great. I don't, I'm not in the locker room when they first put them on, but I think that they really embrace the moment. For a lot of college players, they maybe either had someone tell them that they couldn't play college sports, or they have been working really hard to get to this point. And so being able to be a part of our program is definitely something special. And I don't think they take that for granted. I truly believe that they feel um, privileged to be able to pull on a Bears jersey and feel a part of something that has a really long withstanding legacy in our athletic department. And from Ann Coakley starting and, getting our program off the ground years and years ago, we still give out an Ann Coakley Award to this day, to someone on our team who best represents our program through leadership and community and teamwork. And, that's something that we are not, we don't take lightly. And I think that they feel really privileged and they feel honored to be able to put it on. And so I feel that for them too. I think anytime I'm able to go out there and lead the team, I feel very privileged. I feel very grateful to be here and to have the opportunity to coach an amazing group of women that, would give anything for this team and for this program to be successful. So I would hope and I think that they feel the same way. So
What advice would you give those future college lacrosse players looking to play in college?
work hard. Sounds very simple, but things aren't always going to go to plan. But if you keep working at it and you keep doing, what you love to do and you're passionate about it and it's fun, you're going to get to where you want to go. And I think the other piece is there's always a home for everybody to play college lacrosse. We're not all going to be, on the national stage and playing for Boston College or for UNC, but everyone somewhere can find a home from a college lacrosse perspective that best suits them. And maybe it's not at the Division I level. Maybe you have the skill set, but maybe you don't want to, have that be your whole life. So Division III is a great opportunity to be able to play lacrosse, get a good education, have a great college experience and a good social life, and be able to do all three of those things. So work hard and keep your options open would be my advice in summary.
What advice would you give those college players looking to play for Athletes Unlimited or even Team USA?
I think the same thing. I think work hard, stay passionate about lacrosse and, keep your options open. You never know when an opportunity is going to present itself. So as long as you keep yourself ready, you work hard. And if that's a goal for you to play, at the next level, whether it's professionally, or post collegiately, make sure that you're reaching out to the right people, you're getting out and you're attending tryouts and you're working on your skill set every day. And you're just working for your goals that you want to achieve. You have to set the goals and you got to dream them, but you certainly can achieve them if you work hard and you put the time and the commitment piece in.
What advice would you give those assistant coaches on the college level looking to coach on the college level and then go on to become head coaches such as you did?
Be a sponge, learn as much as you can and soak it all in, ask a lot of questions. There's a lot of things that go into being a head coach. And it's the smallest piece to that puzzle is the X's and O's as far as planning a practice or planning a game. There's budgets, there's administrative, there's recruiting, there's travel, there's fundraising, there's so many other things. There's being almost basically being a mental health counselor to be there for your student athletes that are going through college as student athletes without really a roadmap. So be a sponge, learn as much as you can, ask a lot of questions, but don't settle just because that's the only opportunity that was presented. Put yourself out there. Talk to coaches, talk to other coaches, talk to your current head coach, make sure everyone's in line and supporting your goals as far as you wanting to get to that next level and to be a head coach. So
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Bridgewater State program app?
So our Bridgewater State Instagram is at BSUWLAX. I believe that's also our Twitter and Facebook as well. If not, Bridgewater State Women's Lacrosse is probably the place to go. You can find me I think I'm on Twitter at Erica12 Adams, Erica12 Adams. Of course, now I have to look because I don't actually know my own Twitter handle. And on Instagram, I believe it is EA Sport 12.
Thank you again, Erica Adams, for your interview, and best of luck in your future as the head coach for Bridgewater State.
Thank you so much, Brandon. I appreciate your time and for inviting me on.
Thank
Go
you.
Bears.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Erica Adams, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.